This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Roberto on the Central Sportscentre presented by Montana's Barbecue and Bar, and guess where we are? A Montana's Barbecue and Bar. Let's go. And we're fully loaded with a massive playoff preview today, as we got Mark Messier, Craig Button joining us later in the show, and unfortunately for all of us, Jesse Pollock. And let's waste no time. Let's bring him in right now. Jesse Pollock, get over here. We got no time left for the playoffs. How excited are you?
I am amped up to just dig my teeth into some ribs and get ready for the playoffs.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you were going there. Then you said ribs.
And a steak.
Let's start with the Leafs, okay? Why do you think they're going down in the first round?
Could have asked a better person. Well, I think a lot of people are very high on the Leafs right now. Rightfully so. They've been playing really good hockey, but this team just still has not proven it in the playoffs yet. And let's also remember that the Ottawa Senators have beaten the Leafs in 5 straight games. And at some point, you have to start taking that into account. Mm-hmm. You know, people say, oh, well, the Sens lack playoff experience. Oh, I'm sorry. Are the Leafs this really good, magical playoff team or something?
Okay, relax. Jeez, yeah,
I'm just
I
saying,
get it.
like, people are like, oh, the Sens have no playoff experience. But it's like, dude, are the Leafs good in the playoffs? Like, no.
Okay, well, they made it past the first round, not last year, but the year before.
Okay, and the Senators went to a Stanley Cup final in 2007.
No,
they also went to the conference final and were one Kyle Turris post away from making it to the Cup finals in 2017.
No, you're right. As a Leafs fan, I am actually concerned about the Ottawa Senators.
I mean, I don't think anyone is really safe in the first round in any series except for maybe Carolina. I think they're going to work the Devils, but and Vegas should beat Minnesota for sure. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like I feel confident about the Jets. Blues are a good team, but yeah.
Which brings us to our next question. Tell us why the Jets are winning the Cup, and just rein it in.
I just think that Connor Hellebuyck saw those NHL PA player polls, saw he was the 3rd best goalie in the league, which is not true, and he probably took it to heart a little bit. I think this is the year that he finally really steps up in the playoffs. He's about to win his 3rd Vezina in 4 years. He will solidify himself as an absolute legend with a legendary run here. And let's not forget, the Jets have some really great players. Missing Ehlers is going to be tough, but stacked up front, very deep, has some size there too. And I think our back end is improved. I really like the addition of Luke Shen. I think we're poised to make a run here. I
am jealous of the Luke Shen pick. You know he's a good Sasky boy.
He is. You can take the boy out of the West, but you can't take the West out of the boy, as they say. And the woman, of course.
Oh, that's nice.
It's not just, that's just something that my uncle Sherry Bass used to tell me all the time.
Okay, yeah, he passed the buck to his uncle. That's nice. Okay, Jesse, thank you so much. Now, don't start eating the ribs just yet. We're going to have you back for a couple more segments.
All right. I don't know how I feel about eating cornbread on Passover, but it is what it is.
Well, maybe you can go fix your hair in the meantime. Now joined by 6-time Stanley Cup winner and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier. Great to see ya.
Great to be on with you.
Okay, Mark, you're joining us on behalf of Budweiser, who are making a limited edition Edmonton City of Champions can. So, Mark, I got to put you on the spot early. 2 months from now is Edmonton a City of Champions once again?
We sure hope so. I think everybody was captured by the spirit last year again. I've said it over and over and over again. Game six in the Stanley Cup Finals last year was like a religious experience, and I've been involved and partaked in a lot of events in my life, but that was something special. I think it reminded us all how special of a city Edmonton is when it gets to that moment. And wow, did they deliver! What a game! What an effort by the team, and all of our fingers are crossed that they can rally again and get back there and really bring this to full circle and win a Stanley Cup.
Honestly, that's so heartfelt. I almost want Edmonton to win, but not more than Leafs. Who do you think is the biggest threat to Edmonton winning the Cup?
Oh my goodness, I think there's 4 or 5 teams in each conference that could actually win the Stanley Cup this year, and I think that's what makes it so incredibly exciting for not only the teams but the fans as well. I wouldn't have any idea who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year if you had to ask me. I think so many things are going to fall on injuries and teams being able to stay healthy, and it's going to be a war of attrition just getting out of the West. You look at all the teams that really have a solid chance of winning. At least 5 teams in the West could actually come out of there, but to do it, it's going to take a big effort, and they got to be able to stay healthy. So we'll that's why can't wait for it to start.
That's very true. Fingers crossed for you, buddy. When you watch a player like Connor McDavid, what similarities do you see within him that compares to Wayne Gretzky?
The drive, the need for success, the need to etch their places in the history of our game to be considered the best, the passion to win, the focus, the discipline, the dedication on a day-to-day basis. All the great players had that. Wayne had that. Wayne's work ethic on and off the ice, what he did for the game, the way he sold the game, but his work ethic, his focus, what he knew he needed to do in order to be successful. Everything else was put in second place in order for him to be able to perform at his best. It was an example for all of us of how true greatness is actually achieved. He made me a better player. He made me a better competitor. He made me more focused. And I see the same attributes, obviously, in the Draisaitl. I see it in McDavid, obviously, leading the way there. I see it in all the great young players, McKinnon, Kucherov. You could go down the list of the great players in the game right now. But I think if you really had to compare, McDavid and Gretzky, those things really stick out to me that the same. It's hard to win when you're expected to win. It's hard to do things when everybody knows you're good enough to do it and then have to do it. We saw it in the Masters with McIlroy. Everybody knows he's good enough to win another major. It's been 11 years. And the pressure started to mount. But it's the players find a way. The great players find a way to absorb all that pressure and perform under pressure. And McDavid did that as well as anybody last year.
Mark Messier, friend of the show, thanks for joining us.
You're more than welcome. Good being with you.
If you think we're done talking playoffs, not a chance. Now joined by TSN's Director of Scouting, Craig Button. Great to see you, Uncle.
Hello, Marissa. Always a pleasure to join you.
Okay, Craig, who is the Canadian team most likely to break the cup drought this year?
Well, I think the Canadian drought for the Stanley Cup ends with the Winnipeg Jets. The President's Trophy winners. The last 2 seasons, there hasn't been a better team in the National Hockey League than the Winnipeg Jets. They have everything you need to compete for the Stanley Cup. Top goaltender, a real deep blue line, up front, depth, all the way from the first line to the fourth line. They can play hard, they can play heavy, they got the skill. Everything you want to see in a team, and with respect to being able to compete for the Stanley Cup, the Winnipeg Jets have that, including some recent disappointments, some recent setbacks in the playoffs, which I think helps serve to help you through the next stage of this, which is competing for the Stanley Cup and ultimately winning the Stanley Cup. Marissa, they are my pick to win the Stanley Cup this season.
You know, Craig, sometimes you come on the show and you hurt my feelings. Of the Leafs, Oilers, and Jets, which one is most likely to get knocked off in round 1?
Well, for me, it's real simple. It's the Edmonton Oilers. And I was asked this question earlier this week. They said, how can you bet against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl? I'm not betting against McDavid and Draisaitl, but I am betting against the Edmonton Oilers. I do not think that they're a better team this year than the team that lost in Game 7 versus the Florida Panthers. I see a team that's older, slower, and smaller. Those aren't ingredients for a Stanley Cup contender. And when you look at what the Edmonton Oilers have done over the last 20 or 25 games, it hasn't been anywhere near the level necessary to compete for the Stanley Cup. I know that McDavid and Draisaitl can flip a script, can turn a defensive structure upside down and inside out, and there's no question that they're capable of doing that. But the LA Kings are a top defensive team. Darcy Kemper in the net, an excellent blue line, and Kopitar and Deneau give up nothing to anybody with respect to checking them. So I see the Oilers as being unable to finish off the LA Kings in the first round in this 4th year. Kings win.
Oilers, okay, yeah, they have a lot of injuries. I understand that one. Craig Button, a pleasure as always.
Marissa, it's always a joy to be part of this, and I hope you're not eating up all the wings at Montana's.
That's right, Uncle Button. Do you see, I dressed the part, okay? I wanted to match my surroundings, and I'm ready for antojitos later. I am a little concerned that I will have to munch with Jesse, and I'm just concerned about how much he's ordered. Okay, Jesse's back, and it's time now for the Big Play Replay presented by Montana's Barbecue and Bar. And it was last night of the regular season last night, and we had some great highlights to choose from, including another goal from Ovi to close out the season.
Slicing through, Pollock got it, Ovechkin scores! Now watch the zone entry here. Look at Strome, ram! What a shot by Ovi. Watch Strome scanning 360, and look at Ovi get this clean.
From his office.
Yeah, exactly.
From his office against Sid. Love to see it.
I love how he just stays there. He just stays and waits.
Yeah, it's nice.
What a season from Ovi. 44 goals in 65 games, and he's an old boy.
Yeah, turning 40 years old this year.
Yeah.
He's he's an animal. He's a machine. He should keep playing. I mean, I
agree.
He did confirm that he's not retiring next year, which is great news for the league. There's no reason in my mind why he can't hit 1,000 goals. I think he should absolutely go for it. Ovi,
Yeah.
if you happen to be listening to this, 1,000 goals. Do it. Please.
He's an avid watcher of the show. What do you mean?
Of course. And also, just want to say, he got himself a nice new Rolex from Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Wow.
Classy move from a classy organization.
Yeah, like he couldn't afford it himself.
It's the thought that counts. Risser, you would say no to a free Rolex?
No, of course I would, but I don't have his contract, so yeah. But as nice as Ovi from his office is, it is not quite our big play replay, as that honor belongs to Philip Myers.
Crossing goes to Philip Myers. What a move. Walks right in, shoots, scores.
Oh my goodness.
Philip Myers empties the trick bucket and gets Toronto back within one. What a goal.
Come on. And he puts on a clinic. Shake and bake on Mott. Inside drag on Watson. How's your patience? Opens up the 5-hole and slips it home to make it 3-2. This is highlight reel no matter who you are, let alone a guy who scored one goal in the last 3 years.
Yeah, he scored last on February 6th against Seattle. That was his first goal since 2022.
That was gorgeous.
Okay, were you expecting that from Philly there?
No, when you said Philip Myers, I was a little confused off the start. I'm not going to lie. Guy might have more stone mitts than I have, but hey, good on you, Philly.
No, that was amazing.
No,
Look,
it was.
I think that's winning them the Stanley Cup.
You know what I will say? No, it's not, actually. I will say that it's not. And Ottawa's going to win in 7 games.
Okay, get out of here, man. Okay, Jesse, this is the last question I have for you before we eat. Okay, so make this answer good.
Have my other answers not been good?
I mean, I guess they've been okay.
Just ask the question.
Of all of the players in the playoffs, who has the most pressure on them?
I think it is, without a doubt, Mitch Marner. I mean, you look back to his first contract negotiation with the Leafs, did not sit well with a lot of Leafs fans, and now he still has not signed with the team. There were rumors about him potentially getting traded to Carolina at the deadline. He still has not signed an extension. People think that he's just not a playoff performer, which, he's a little inconsistent in the playoffs at times. If we're being real, he is. And this is the best season he's had. This is probably the best Leafs team he's ever played on. Expectations are high. If Mitch Marner doesn't show up in the first round, what's going to happen for the Leafs? Let's say they lose in the first round and he performs like he did last year. It's going to make for an interesting situation. I think he will have a good series. I just think that Four Nations was really good for him, but no question. And also, I do think Connor Hellebuck has some pressure on him. This is a guy who's, again, he's about to win his 3rd Vezina in 4 years, solidifying himself literally as one of the best goaltenders of all time. But if you don't really have the playoff success to back that, it's hard to make your case as being truly at the very, very top. So I'm expecting big things from you, Helly. So is Winnipeg. Best of luck, my guy.
Like, he has a lot of pressure. Here's more pressure.
Yeah, here's more pressure, but we love you.
Thanks, Jess. We'll eat now. All right, now through the magic of editing, our lunch has finally arrived. Jesse, what are you most excited about eating?
Give it all to me. I mean, look, I will let everyone know that utensils will not be used.
I'm sorry, the way he said that was so gross. Anyway, continue.
What's so gross about that? I just want all the food. No utensils, okay? That includes the mac and cheese. I'm going all hands. No, seriously, I'm going all hands. I also got a side of steak with my ribs, so it's going to get messy. I'm serious. Like, you may want to put on are there like umbrellas that you could put on your head or something while you eat? Because there's going to be some fireworks at the table today coming from my mouth.
Okay. Gross.
You good?
I ordered the fajitas, my staple at Montana, so I will be doing that again. So you have to watch out for the fajita heat.
You used to work in Montana, didn't you?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we'll go bite for bite.
Okay, let's go. Don't forget about the antojitos.
What are antojitos? I guess we're about to find out. I've never heard of these.
To soccer, and can you believe it? We are just 419 days away from the FIFA World Cup. And it was a big one a couple days ago, as the official poster for Vancouver as host city was unveiled. And my goodness, is it spectacular. Honestly, it's a stunner, another frameable for the house. So who better to join us than the man who made the poster, BC artist Jamin Zuroski. Thanks for joining us.
So nice to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
First off, we absolutely love the poster. It's stunning. How special of a moment is this for you and your career to have been chosen as the artist for the Vancouver poster?
It's an amazing opportunity for honestly anyone, but for myself, it was really dear to my heart, just being a soccer player all my life, and also just trying to grow in the art space and share culture from my mother's side of the family specifically. And I'm currently in school, so I'm like, also in the trajectory of continuously learning and trying to fill my tool belt. And when I created the poster, I really wanted it to be received well with all ages. And right now it's on the side of BC Place, vinyled up against the glass. And when folks walk past, families of all ages, I want them to each kind of connect in their own kind of beautiful and unique way, and like point out the orchid is like, oh, I've seen one of those, and like some of the adults just kind of see some of the other abstract pieces and just kind of connect with it in their own way, and but also the landscape, so it is a beautiful region of the world, and I'm very excited for it to be in Vancouver, and it's been such a beautiful opportunity.
You're right, it is. I lived there for 2 years. Was it a surreal moment for you to walk by and see it at BC Place? Was it a moment that hasn't sunk in yet?
Yeah, I actually hired one of my student cohort friends, and she's a photographer, and she came a day of for the press conference, and she stuck around until everyone left. So as all the media, the tents and the chairs and all that stuff was gone, she had taken photos of just the vinyl itself against the building, and it just looked so crisp, so fresh. And then also just with people walking by and appreciating it, it's a really beautiful thing. Like it'll stand the test of time, hopefully until the tournament and maybe that just a little bit thereafter. But hopefully it sparks inspiration and fire, in folks, not just for the tournament, but for folks in their own passions and goals. I really feel like, each initiative that happens in community, each event that happens in community, I hope sparks new fires and new flames inside of each other to really just have people continue to follow their dream. You know what I mean? And like I would say, like probably 6 years ago, I was like, I think I need to go full-time artist. Like I need to do this, and I wouldn't turn back, only because I feel like I've not only feel fulfilled by sharing my content, but also feeling that privilege and ability to collaborate and find ways in collaboration where you can parallel storytelling in visual context in my world, but for receivers who are visual learners, like I feel like when I was in school, it's like, show me the picture, show me the description of what's happening in the photo, you know what I mean? So I hope folks resonate with the poster in that way too. So
thank you so much for joining us. We love the poster, we love your energy. We'll see you at the World Cup.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
That's it for us from Montana's Barbecue and Bar today. We will see you back Monday. Have a great weekend.